of the Caribbean, where the music never stops. New Era TT Radio, Nett Radio.
Everybody, and of course, good morning to you. It's time for exploring Buddhist concepts, and it's right here on Nera TT Radio on a Thursday, just at around 11 o'clock. And of course, this is where we are joined by our host in between here, Cassie Senghor. So, Cassie, good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing a lot better than I did yesterday because it's very bright and sunny. And I think I'm trying my best to match that mood, and somehow or the other, it's working out to be a lot better than it was yesterday.
Okay, well, that is good news.
Yeah, because yesterday I thought, wow, I have not prepared for today. I better call Sir Charles and find an excuse. But thankfully, I don't have to do that because, as we all know, Buddhism is a very expansive way of life. It's all about life itself and about life and living, and as we stated from the very start, what the Buddha taught in the very beginning is how to free ourselves from suffering. So I would like to begin by just saying that may whatever we do and say here this morning may be of benefit to ourselves and to all sentient beings, whether we like them, know them, don't know them, distrust them, hate them, whatever. You want to send loving kindness, or if you want to shorten it, just to send love to all of them. This is our practice in Buddhism. It's not easy, it's not an easy practice. Because we come into it with our regular tendencies. Nevertheless, that is why we practice, and that is why that is why we are training as we do to overcome tendencies, to strengthen qualities, and to find ways to solve situations that will bring about not just temporary, but lasting happiness. And therefore, this program, I hope, will reach far and wide, and that people are not really put off by thinking, well, another one of those religious things, as it were. But in truth and in fact, what we are dealing with, and in particular what I am dealing with here, is what the Buddha taught and what he taught about suffering, that there is suffering, that there is a cause, that there is a way out of suffering, and that way out of suffering, we call it the Eightfold Path. So this morning, we are going to be dealing more with practice. Practice is also a concept, but it is also something that we do. So what are we going to do this morning that is going to lift what we see on what we read on the page, what we say with words? We are going to lift it from there into something that is done. So the first thing, which is something that I dealt with already, is the question of posture. We are talking here about meditation. And when we approach meditation, especially formal meditation, sitting meditation, posture is very important. And in formal sitting meditation, especially for beginners, but for all of us, we begin with focusing on the breath. And this is what you might say traditional, in that the breath brings us to where we want to be, which is to say, in the present moment. Because that's the only time we can really do something then about ourselves that is meaningful in the present moment, here and now. And in posture, if I can draw an analogy to cricket, yesterday's program with Tony Fraser was very enlightening. As a matter of fact, it is what cheered me up, because it gave me a track to run on for today's talk. Because, for instance, they were talking about the posture of the batsman, the wide stance, the angle, the posture of the bat, the wide, the movement of the bat and that sort of thing, the cricket terms. I thought it's so very kind of similar then to what is required in Buddhism. Because if you do not adopt the right posture as a batsman and even as a bowler, you're not going to be effective on your team. You're going to commit suicide, as they put it. You're not going anywhere if you do that. So at yesterday's discussion brought that out in a very big way when they began to talk about individuals and their posture. In Buddhism, when we are doing formal meditation, our posture is to sit upright and balanced. That is the be-all and end-all of it. To sit upright and balanced means that we should have our feet flat on the floor. Preferably, if we are barefooted, that is good. Preferably, if we are sitting in a room that is quiet and, we are by ourselves in particular. Even if you are on Zoom with a group, have your feet nice and flat with your big toes facing as forward as you can, and next, you come up the line, you have your knees extended, feel them extended as it were. You have the thighs, feel the weight of the thighs. You have the buttocks, feel the weight of the buttocks on the chair. Coming up again, feel your arms on the thighs, on the legs. Feel the weight of the arms on the legs. Coming up further again. can feel the spine. As you stretch that spine upwards, you begin to feel the little curvature at the bottom of the spine. Feel the torso, the chest, sort of like pushing out, like, you know, that area surrounding the heart. You're moving that upwards, so that whole torso region, you know, is all relaxed. And then you come right up to the shoulders, which can drop to relax them. Because a lot of times there's tension in the shoulders, as you know, as we are carrying around burdens which we don't even know about, we are unaware of. So we drop those shoulders, and then we realize, hey, there was a lot of tension there. Then we come up again, straight up to the face and the head. There's a lot of tension in the face also when we check it out. You know, around the forehead, around the eyes, the ears, the nostrils, cheekbones, jawbones, around the mouth, inside the mouth, the throat, the neck. You know, it's just a matter of checking all of these, scanning, as they say, all of these areas and feeling whatever is there without judging them. You know, this is, I suppose, how a batsman would practice his craft, you know, to see how he's going to face up to a particular bowling, and you know, how he's going to execute a particular stroke, and so on and so forth. So in Buddhism, that's what we do. We adopt a posture that makes us pliable, relaxed, and ready to take the next step. The next step is to select something on which to anchor ourselves, and with something on which to focus. Yes, there's a question of a single thing, like a candle or so. But what we do really, what we do as for beginners, and even if we are advanced practitioners, what we do is to begin to focus on the breath. And we use the words breathing. I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out. I know I'm breathing out. Breathing in. I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out. I know I'm breathing out. And this is the natural breath that we are talking about here. We're not talking about any forced breath, any particular kind of breathing. This is just the normal way that you are breathing, and you are either going to count, which is to say, you can count one after the in-breath or one after the in and out breath. And we can take that to 10, or we can take it to 21. I would suggest 10 for beginners, as you will see for yourself, that reaching 10 is not as easy as it looks, because we have a very heavy tendency as beginners in particular to stray. I gave the example the last time I was saying about the Our Father prayer, and the man wanting the horse and being easily distracted. But it's much worse than that, because so many things come into play. If we are doing it now, for instance, the amount of things that have happened since we got up this morning, the amount of things that we have heard in the news, All of these things are playing in the mind. And for us to go to sit still now and think that they are just going to go away because we stand up is foolhardy. So we sit in a proper posture, which helps from, it's very helpful in stirring the mind, but we have to go further. So we use that breath technique of counting the breath, or if we want to take the chance, we want to follow the breath without any counting. Or if you are at that stage where you don't need to count, you can simply follow the breath and maybe mentalize, just in the mind saying in and out, as the case might be, Also, when we have settled the mind, calm the mind, because this is the purpose of following the breath and so on, we can meditate on sound if you want to, because remember that everything that we experience is coming through the senses. And perhaps one of the easier senses to deal with is the sense of sound. So we can meditate on the songs in and around us. And, or sight or touch or any such thing like that. Remember, again, using cricket as an analogy, the batsman, so he looks around to see the field placement, the bowler sets the field, so they're using senses there to navigate them through the game, And I think it's a good analogy because in cricket, it's so very individual. You're on a team, yes, but when it's your turn, you have to face the ball. And in Buddhism, in the practice of meditation, you are beginning to face yourself. You are beginning to face your tendencies, your habits, your likes, your dislikes. All of these things you are now beginning to face. And so you make a selection, as it were, or you are guided, if you are guided, towards a selection with the breath. Normally, as I say, we do it with the breath. And then we can do it with song, we can do it with many things. We can do it with sensations, feelings. Sometimes you can, later on, you might be able to do it with a mantra, or you can take a sentence from within the scriptures that means something to you, a sentence like, or question like, for instance, what does it mean to be free from suffering? You can take that question into your meditation without trying to intellectualize on it, without holding discussion with your thoughts, as it were. And you could simply allow that question to work for you. See what arises without interfering, and just simply let it work for a few minutes until you either go back to the breathing or you come back to the posture, as the case might be. So this is how we going to deal here. After the posture, when we make a selection as to what are we going to do with okay. That came from, but it could work. So you can make a selection. That gong there might be very timely if you are following and you are sitting, in that now you can make a selection. Am I going to begin with the breath and then move towards listening to songs, as the case might be, and then as in football, as in cricket and all of that. I contend, that one of the reasons why we are not as good as we should be on the field of football or in terms of West Indies cricket, which has many people, including Tony Fraser, wincing and cringing and being in pain. Tony Fraser mentioned how much pain he is being, and I know many people like that, they're in pain. Similarly, in Buddhist practice, you may be approaching meditation with a certain amount of fear, certainly with uncertainty, and because you really don't know what is in store for you. But curiosity mixed with courage, and something is going to happen, and eventually through continuous practice, you're going to be able to meditate properly and to benefit from such meditation. So selection of what you are going to meditate on is important after the posture, so to speak. As I say, you can use a song, you can use a concept. And then the lack of confidence of, oh yes, that is where I was actually. And they spoke yesterday in the thing on the program on cricket. Tony raised a very important question, which I noted, and I hope I have it written down accurately. He asked the question, Tony Fraser did, is it possible to do something about the mind? He's talking about the mind of the cricketer, And the panel went into various things that happen in and on and off the field, whether people will run afterwards and start to play wind ball cricket, or as the case might be, or you could see from their body language that they really, they're out of it, but they're in the game, but the confidence gone. Football, even the attendees then at a football match, when you see we look like we lose and his head's dropping, no, naturally, we get despondent and so on. I mean, I'm saying naturally, but that is not the case the world over, that spurs up other people. I watch matches on YouTube and that kind of thing. And you will find that if a side goes down by 1 goal or 2 goals, that doesn't deflate the supporters. As a matter of fact, it spurs them on to chant louder and do more backing. But that isn't the case here with us. And maybe it's a West Indian thing, because the analogy I'm using is West Indian cricket, and therefore, we are less inclined to support when we have been bombarded over many years with losses. We kind of, oh boy, here we go again, we grab, we grab defeat from the jaws of victory, that kind of thing. So a lack of confidence, well, in Buddhism, for instance, this is why we are how we are meditating on our mental deficiencies, as it were, and hopefully, through those means of making a proper selection. So we are in our posture. We are doing the in and out breath. We may advance towards meditating on sound or sight or touch. or we may be meditating on a particular thought coming out of script, the scriptures or the Four Noble Truths. The question that I posed just now. What does it mean to be free from suffering? And Tony Fraser's question too, how do we deal with the mind of the player? You just simply transfer the word practitioner there, you replace player with practitioner. How do we deal with the mind of the practitioner? And this is why we are sitting, this is why we are doing with the meditation. So those aspects bring us to another aspect of the meditation, which is key, and that is called awareness. And in awareness, it is said that awareness is the essence of meditation. In other words, awareness is not something that we do even, or something that we can touch or manipulate, or, we have to use language in talking about it, but it's not given to even the things we say about it, because awareness is really ourselves. 24/7 awareness is there. It's just that we don't know it is there, and we don't know how to put it to use. The mind, of course, is there, and we have mental abilities and all of that, but awareness is above and beyond, to use Sir Charles's phrase. Awareness is the essence of meditation. And after a while of practice and so, we come to the point where we learn how to be aware of what is in front of us, so that we begin to see things as they are, and not as we would like them to be. So this is over time, so I'm not suggesting that it's going to happen overnight, or with just a little bit of practice and so on. It's good to be in a group, it's good to be guided, good to have a teacher. If all of these things are in place, we will come to that point where we begin to learn about awareness and what awareness is and does for us. And when we begin to employ awareness in that manner, we are well on the way to becoming enlightened. Now, not everybody, let me say, not everybody is trying to become enlightened. Some of us are simply satisfied in changing our way of life. Some of us just want to be better people. Some of us simply want to live good lives, raise our family, achieve successes, as it were, along the way. Different strokes for different folks, as they say. And that's quite all right too. As we say, you don't have to be a Buddhist to want these things and to practice what I am talking about here. Because other religions kind of do more or less the same thing, but not in the same way. For instance, whereas the 10 Commandments, for instance, might be a bit dogmatic, you either do or you don't do, and if you don't do, you're going to go here. If you do, you're going to go there. Whereas in Buddhism, what we do is train not to do, not to practice in lying, stealing, lusting, killing, that sort of thing. We train ourselves because Buddhism understands that as much as we may have a good intention to not do these things, the tendency to fall back, because their tendencies, because their habits, the tendency to fall back is always present. So we have to keep up with training. And one of the things we do in that regard, with regard to meditation in particular, is that we meditate morning and evening, because memory could be lost in the course of a day. I mentioned last time we were here about us being in all the realms, the 6 realms we spoke about: the hell realm, the hungry ghost realm, the animal realm, our realm, which is the human realm, the jealous gods or the warring gods realm, and the God realm. And we could traverse all of those realms in a matter of seconds. Change of mood. Something upsets us. Something pleases us. And we could be in any one of those realms at any time. But for stability and for steadfastness, meditation helps us to be aware. And awareness is where this is seen as very important in our practice. So to come to that awareness, we meditate as regularly, consistently, and with great confidence as we can muster. So let me just, as we approaching 11:35, now 11:36, let me just spend a few moments here reading from Senghor's book, Grow Your Own Happiness. And what I'm reading is meditation on songs. And the pointers she gives are: focus on the coming and going of your breath. So even though we are going to be focusing on song, as I keep saying, we normally start off with focusing on the breath in all aspects, most of the time, 99.9% of the time. We are going to start off with focusing on the breath to help calm the mind. So focus on the coming and going of your breath for a few seconds. Breathe normally without forcing it. With each exhalation, empty yourself of all tensions. Pay attention to the songs around you, whether it's honking horns or birds chirping. Observe them without evaluation or judgment. Evaluation or judgment, of course, only increases tension and brings up discursive thought, as to whether you're annoyed by this horn and this blowing of the horn, or how pleasant it is to hear these birds around this time, which causes us to stray from the concentration or the focus on the songs. Just hear what there is to listen to as song. So we try that. We are in our posture. We have done in and out. And now we are simply listening to sound without judgment. Whether you like or dislike it, focus on the sound quality of what you are hearing. Imagine you are a newborn baby and you have never heard these songs before. Choose a song, constant or intermittent, and concentrate on it for a moment. In your neighborhood, for instance, there might be dogs barking, there might be vehicles passing, there might be trees swaying, which you can hear. There may be the sound of a baby crying or a machine going. Whatever the song that you choose, concentrate on it for a moment. If you feel any irritation, relax. Choose a distant or faint song and concentrate on it for a moment. So there are two areas of song, so to speak. The song just around you and songs in the distance. And she suggests here that you choose a distance or faint song and concentrate on it for a moment. And lastly, at the end, inhale deeply, and as you exhale, come back. Stretch your legs and arms. Stand up slowly. So that is our meditation with using song as our focus, and that brings us almost to the end of our session today. It's now 11:41, and I must say, that that question of mental health, which Tony Fraser and the panel were trying to deal with yesterday, I really, and truly believe this has to do with our sport, because we are very, I'm sure, very concerned about our sport outcomes then, Sometimes we win, we rejoice, in football, and the next match, we lose in a bad way. But the West Indies cricket now is a different thing, it seems, that we are hardly winning and that kind of thing. And, Tony Fraser in particular, had this very brilliant question. And I think I remember that when the Olympic team, for instance, is traveling, they travel with a psychologist. I don't know if that still happens. I don't know if our football teams travel with a psychologist, or if there's a psychologist attached to the West Indies cricket team. And I think I knew one of these psychologists, a woman. I think she was from Belmont too, my hometown. And she used to travel with teams long time, net ballers and that kind of thing. So perhaps that's something we could look at and see, if it still obtains and what we can do, and maybe these psychologists can introduce periods of stillness, periods of meditation that could help them to bring a stillness towards what they're doing. This brings me to the end of today's session, and I don't think there are any callers, or else the child would have told me. Nevertheless, those of you all who are listening, when I checked the YouTube, I don't think I got the last one, but when I checked the YouTube, I see quite a number of people who have viewed it, but I don't see any likes, so I'm making a request that when you view the YouTube of these programs, you simply press the like and subscribe button. which will assist new radio network, in particular, in growing and being able to continue to have programs like this one, not just this one I'm on, but other programs, and that Sir Charles and his network and the rest of us by extension can grow from success to success. Thank you, Sir Charles.
Thank you very much, Cassie. And of course, thank you very much for exploring Buddhist concepts right here on New Era TT Radio.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease.